right, everybody. Happy Wednesday. How we doing out there? Hope you're having a great day out there. This quick show that we do called The Closing Beat. Just a fun, quick way to cover the stock market. The good, the bad, and the ugly is what I usually say. We still got some ugly to talk about out there, and we'll cover it all there. Remember, we're playing a game. It's called Guess the Dow. Don't put your guesses in the video below. We don't track those. You got to actually go on the website there. It's on the bottom right-hand corner of your page, jazzwealth.com/guess the Dow. There's no tricks or gimmicks or anything. You just give us a guess, tell us where you think. That automatically tells us like what your guesses were and logs it all and figures it all out. So we don't actually look on YouTube. Sorry about that if I made that not very clear. Anyways, take a guess. If you're the closest without going over, we'll send you a $100 gift card. This will be an interesting one to see who guessed that the Dow would finish. Well, if the Dow finishes where it is at the moment, seems like that's the case. But you will be a rightful winner if you happen to be the closest without going over this week, and of course probably next week as well. So take a shot there. Our Wine and Wealth class. Every week we do classes for customers. We're an educational type financial advisor. We really believe in teaching, just constantly sharing information with you. We do that every Thursday. We have a class. We were going to focus on Nest Day. We're going to actually do a special class on the markets and everything that's going on. So we'll go over some of the geeky stuff there for you. If you're one of our customers, that'll be tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the dojo, by the way. Our jazz artist of the week is Chris Bode. And if you've never heard Chris Bode, he's a phenomenal trumpet player. He's also probably one of the hardest working trumpet players out there at the moment. He's got a song. You got to look up the live version. They did it in Boston. It's called Indian Summer with Billy Kilson on the drums. One of the best, most energetic drummers you could ever see too. So it's kind of like a promotion of him as well. Anyways, check it out. Let me know. Next week we'll have a new jazz artist to feature there for you. Just kind of a fun thing we're doing here. Anyways, let's take a look at the markets today. You got the Dow lower by 121. S&P lost 15 to the upside on the NASDAQ. People were very choosy about where they were going to buy and put money to work. So it was very, very interesting to see that today. Overnight, oh man, you just an incredible. Let's just go to this real quick. Here's the Dow. So the Dow's back down to this trend line here. It's been flirting around with this trend line, a little bit lower after hours here, but here's basically what happened. I'm going to go to a 5-minute chart, take you through this. Middle of the night. There you go. We sell off 600 points from here to here, 3 a.m. while you're sleeping and I'm watching. We sell off 600 points. We rally all the way throughout the day. We're up 800 from the lows, and then markets just sell off again. We just immediately fall 600 points there. Back down to this low, and then of course selling off throughout the day. Here's basically what happened. We get a nice little counter trend bounce, a little bit of recovery rally maybe in the markets there. Everybody's thinking, okay, maybe the worst is behind us. And I love the way I was telling customers this today. They were asking about the markets, and I said, I think we have found a bottom, but I don't think we found the bottom. That was kind of the way I wanted to say it. I don't think we just really recover from all of this and all is good again. But anyways, you got a nice little rally there, and all of a sudden you get Germany says, okay, this is going to be an issue. In New York, they're testing like 83 people. They said we're testing 83 people for the coronavirus. Markets sell off a little bit, and then all of a sudden we get the news, hey, 27 of them tested negative so far. We get a little bit of a bounce, but everybody goes, well, wait a minute, 27 is not 83. There's a chance that other people still have that case or do have the coronavirus, and so we sold off into the close. That's basically where we left off things. And after hours, you can kind of see the Dow just floating a little bit lower there. And so that was kind of what happened with the Dow. Really, really exciting range-bound day for the market, wide range-bound day, I should say. All over the place, just really, really, if you watch the price move on the screen, it was like up and down, just flying around all over the place. Really exciting. I mean, I don't know if you like this stuff, but it was pretty exciting there. President Trump's just waiting for me to finish this show, and then he's going to address the nation, I believe, at 6 o'clock. I think he's going to take questions as well. So it'll be kind of a informal thing, it looks like, maybe a bit of a speech, and then he'll take questions. So as soon as we're done here, he said he'll get started. Anyways, more of the same. So let's look at the S&P 500. I'm going to share the data with you as well on the charts like we've been doing, some of the other data. But you got the S&P pulling back this uptrend line here, this black line. I made it a little bolder so we could see it today. That's the 10% level. If we could just fall a little bit more, that would officially be a 10% pullback. If you look at the Dow, we talked about that right at the trend line there, kind of flirting with breaking through it. The NASDAQ got a little bit of a bounce during the day. However, after hours, as of now, it is selling back off again into the red. It's the same story as far as the stocks that have been selling off. You got your tourism, anything related to travel, tourism, things like that. Carnival Cruise, obvious names that have been lower. Royal Caribbean, of course, lower as well. Expedia, you got your travel booking sites. They were lower as well, 7% on the day. Your gambling stocks, MGM, Wynn, things like that, all sold off on the day. And the same thing to the upside there. You've got names like Consumer Staples and Guild. We'll go over a few of these, but remember, Gilead Sciences, this is the one that the World Health Organization said, we're going to focus on the drugs that you have because we like what you're doing there, or they have the most promising drug. And so you have that sort of split where people are saying, okay, I want to invest here, I want to put a little money to work, but I don't know that I want to go buy some of these headline stocks at the moment. So you had other things like Netflix. Netflix was higher on the day, 5% higher on the day. Apple got a little bit of a bounce as well, up 1.5%. Adobe, some of these tech stocks, people were saying, all right, I'll take a shot here, maybe where it's not a direct, if people have to stay home and watch movies, or if people are going to be working like Zoom. Zoom had a great day. People are going to be working not in the office, but working online, telecommuting and things like that. Those stocks all had a good little bounce today. And then the biotechs, we talked about Guild, Regeneron was in there as well, also doing well on Biogen, BIIB is the symbol, added about 1% on the day. Now, you've got all these stocks out there. You got MasterCard the other day saying, hey, we're going to expect to take about a 2 to 3% hit on revenue for the year because of this virus thing. You had Lowe's yesterday with their earnings, and today coming out saying this is going to be a factor for us, down another 4% on the day. Microsoft coming out literally like just a few minutes after the close and saying, hey, we're adjusting our guidance as well. We don't think we're going to meet guidance. You name it, companies out there are bringing their guidance down for the most part. If they haven't, they're about to. And so what they're doing is they're saying, okay, we realize the carnage out there. We realize the possibilities. Let's give them a low number, right? That's good news. I think that's actually good news. Think about what happens. If this coronavirus turns out to be sort of worst case scenario, then all that's getting priced in right now. If it's anything better than worst case scenario, all these companies, the way they're lowering their guidance, they're really undershooting those numbers. So when we go into next quarter and the quarter after's earnings, I think you're going to see, if things don't turn out to be such a scary situation like they're painting it right now, I think you're going to see these companies beating on expectations. Could add for a little bit of a lift in the markets there. All right, let's go over to where the markets are at here. We'll go to this chart. We'll share this with you. Here is the current index performance from highs. The Russell took the brunt of kind of the hit today. You got a little bounce in the NASDAQ, now down about 9% on from highs. You got 8.25% on the S&P. The Dow down now 9% from the highs, and the Russell nearing the 10% mark. It may actually be hitting it here after hours as we're talking here, because the Russell... let's do it like this. Yeah, the Russell's selling off as well. Can I go to like a 5-minute? Yeah, I could do that. Here you go. Russell 2000, 1546.50. So that's just a little bit under, almost to the 10% mark for the Russell 2000. I'd like to comment on the Russell 2000 here before we continue. If you're a technical trader, you may use different types of tools and things on your charts. Without being specific, what happens is technical traders look for how far away stocks are from their 50-day moving average. That indicates either oversold or overbought. It's a broadly used metric. It's not something that I'm just coming up with here. But the Russell 2000, being this far away from the 50-day, we quantify it in standard deviation. So anything that's a 1 or 2 standard deviation move from the blue line, the 50-day moving average, is considered oversold. And the counter trend traders see that as an opportunity. People that were thinking about selling, they look at that and they say, it's oversold. Maybe we'll get a short-term bounce. You know where we're at here with the Russell 2000? Right here, we are currently 4 standard deviations, twice what would be considered oversold in the short term here from the 50-day moving average. There are only 5 other specific days in history of the Russell 2000 where this has happened. That's it. This is the 6th time in history that we've been as oversold as we have, at this position here at the moment. Last time was August 2011. I don't know what it is about August, but it was August 2011, August 1998, and then the October 1987 crash, right? That was essentially the last time that happened. The issue with that, in case you're thinking, oh, we're oversold, I think I'll take my shot here and bounce. Out of those other 5 times, I get it, the data's small. It's not like a lot of data points here, but out of all those 5 times, there's only one that bounced 3 to 6 months later. There was only one one time that happened. The rest of them were negative. The one time it did happen was 2011, if you're interested. But every other time when the Russell found itself this extended, yeah, there were little bounces along the way. But 3 and 6 months later, it found itself lower than this very point than we're at right now. So if you like the idea of these dips, don't worry about like rushing in. It doesn't mean that you have to go 100% full steam ahead, you know? So I kind of use the same analogy. We found maybe a bottom here, but not the bottom in the market. So let's keep going through all our stuff here. In the Dow, which is now down 5.5% on the year, the stronger stocks in the category are going to be, drug-related. Pfizer up 2.3% on the day. Apple, we mentioned a second ago, got 1.5%. And 3M, I think it finished positive on the day. It did, 1.44% on the day, although that's a very, very weak stock. But 3M getting a little bit of a boost. Remember, these guys make the masks, right? So if there really is a big deal, supposedly there's not enough of masks to go around. I don't know why, but we have 4 of them here. We didn't buy that. I'm not sure why we have them, but I was just cleaning up earlier, and I'm like, whoa, we have, okay, some of us are protected. All right, that's awesome. Anyway, so those were your stronger ones in the group there. On the downside, you got Disney in the Dow. That was one of the weaker ones. They're losing their CEO, new CEO stepping in, Bob Iger stepping down effective immediately. And then you had your oil names, which we'll cover in a second. Energy going below 10%. ExxonMobil down 2% on the day, and not CVS, CVX, Chevron, weak on the day as well. It's just lower prices of oil. In the S&P 500, which is now down over 3.5% on the year, you got the TJ Maxx, which is great. We happen to own this one. It's kind of nice to see something green for a change. 7.1% higher on the day. They just had good earnings. I mean, it was just a good earnings there. Gilead Sciences sticks out again as one of the better performers. CME Group, they're obviously doing well. More transactions, more people that trade and adjust their portfolios. Everything's good. And on the downside, it's the same story in the S&P 500. Travel, tourism, etc., oil, or energy stocks. United Airlines down 5% on the day, and all the cruise lines. We don't have to go through it again. All the cruise lines lower on the day. Over the last 5 days, let's take a look at the sectors here. I'll pop this back up, and we'll go to this one. Here is the sector performance over the last 5 days. Only a small change here. Energy takes the top spot as being the biggest decliner over the last 5 days, now down 12.5%. Technology got a little bit of a bounce there. Not too crazy. And then industrials sold off a little bit more. That's the change. Yesterday I had them sorted from the least decliners to the biggest decliners. Just left it like this so you can kind of see the change in industrials. You can see the change in energy. Everything else sold off a little bit more. Real estate a little more. Utilities a little more. Consumer staples a little more. However, they continue to be at least an area that's not taking as big of a hit. So I hope that helps you there. Maybe I'll post that on Instagram for you. You had every sector in the S&P 500 was green on the day at one point, and together, by the way. And by the end of the day, the only sector that finished in the positive was the tech sector, although well off of its highs. Added 0.5% on the day. It was a broad rally, basically across the board, broad dip buying type rally in the tech sector. And really everywhere initially, when we had that first bounce in the market there, was kind of initially just widespread bounce there. Yeah, semiconductors just a touch higher on the day. It was kind of one of the more oversold areas of the market. And so get a little bit of a bounce there. Some focus areas inside the semiconductors. NVIDIA had a good day. Your chip company, Micron, had a decent day, 0.5%. I mean, that's considering what the markets did. AMD also was all right. It was down on the day, but only by 0.17%. So kind of holding up inside the semiconductor space there. Industrials, there you go. A little bit more of a sell-off there, breaking through the 200-day moving average, flirting around that 200-day moving average. The 10-year, by the way. Where do we go for that? Here it is. The 10-year hitting a new record low, 1.3 and change on the 10-year. Wow. That is impressive there. You've got a 44.6% chance that the Fed cuts in June, and now a 24% chance that they cut in March. I don't know what they cut in March. I think they call it jawboning. I think they use kind of their language to say, we're watching this, we will adjust, we may likely adjust. They'll change their words a little bit to get everybody excited about that. Moving on, you got the financials back to the 200-day moving average, back into fair value, by the way. Fundamentally, right back into about its average kind of PE ratio there, if you follow that sort of thing. So right around the 200-day for you technical traders. Retail breaking through the 200-day, that's unfortunate. That was really starting to wake up there, but taking a big hit. And a lot of names in the S&P 500 that were retail were at the bottom of the list. You got Macy's, it was the biggest loser in the retail space today. Looking through just a little bit more, Lowe's was in the mix as well, Kohl's, of course. So that stands out there in the retail. And energy, this is now officially your weakest area of the market over the last 5 days. Lost 3% on the day. A lot of that had to do with the price of oil. Price of oil making new lows throughout the day, through the entire session, actually, down 2.5% on the day. All right, individual stocks. Let's cover a few things here. Smile Direct Club came out with earnings. They were not good. Smile Direct Club lost 14 cents more than expected. They lose money. They're expected to lose 11 cents. They lost 25 cents overall. They had weaker revenues. They lowered their guidance as well. Very weak guidance going forward. So that stock is probably lucky that it didn't make new lows today. Beyond Meats, you may see in the news, Starbucks is adding, I don't know, like a Beyond Meats sandwich or burger or whatever, to their 1,400 Canadian stores. I believe that starts right away. There's no test period. They're just diving in. Zoom was higher on the day by 19%. The company said that as of now, which is only, let's call it March now, of 2020, they've already added more paying customers in these 3 months than they did all last year. And so they're saying that corporations are now kind of doing more teleconferencing around the world. That's helping them. They're getting more subscriptions and everything. So looking good for them. Salesforce.com, the co-CEO stepping down. Yep. And so the stock was a little bit lower on the day. They did beat on earnings by 10 cents. And revenues came in better than expected as well. We mentioned Disney already with the new CEO as well there. Papa John's, there you go. Big day for Papa John's, just the wrong direction. Down 8.6% on the day. They beat by 5 cents. Revenues were as expected. Guidance was a little bit mixed there. Everybody wasn't too excited about that. And Toll Brothers, well, you had, by the way, new home sales. Very strong today. Great report. Just nobody cared, right? Normally that would have probably been a market-moving event, but not for Toll Brothers. So Toll Brothers actually missed by 5 cents, and revenues came in weaker than expected, giving back the last 5 months' worth of work. You see how the bears took the elevator on that one there? And Tesla, I think, so Tesla was $20 lower, which doesn't seem like a big deal. 2.6% lower on the day. They're going to discontinue their solar cell partnership with Panasonic. And so that's what you got on Tesla for the day. For the S&P 500, there you go. We've got 21% of the S&P 500 below the 50-day moving average. That's a continued decline. That's only 107 stocks or 106 stocks that are trading above the 50-day moving average. Not good. Energy officially has no stock above its 50-day moving average. The entire sector is below its 50-day moving average. REITs, utilities, and consumer staples have around 50% of their stocks above the 50-day moving average. In other words, they're staying strong there. You only had 4 new highs on the day. We already mentioned. Oh.
Hey, wait.
You see?
Before you go watch one of our other.
Look at me. This is what I do. Okay. 4 new highs, and we mentioned all of them already. CME Group, Regeneron Pharmaceuticals. Oh, we didn't mention TJ Maxx. Oh, we did mention TJ Maxx earnings, of course. And that's it. Gilead Sciences and CME Group, that's it. 51 new lows on the day. That's the opposite of what we were just talking about last week, right? 50 new highs. Fossil was the worst out of all of them, down 21%. They just a horrible earnings there. Wasn't looking good for them. And then, the other names, Carnival Cruise Lines, all the ones that we've been seeing in there. TripAdvisor was another one, hit new lows as well. Just a lot of lows, a lot of new 52-week lows. Anything that was previously weak, so anything that last week was already hinting at 52-week lows, hit 52-week lows. That's it, just over there. If you happen to watch the debate, awesome. Yeah, good TV. The debate last night, it's up to you, whatever you decide on that one. The odds currently of Bernie Sanders winning the Democratic nomination have risen to 51.2. Michael Bloomberg apparently didn't do too well. He's down 4.6%. The odds of him winning now are at 17.4%. Joe Biden took all of Bloomberg's apparently his odds there, 4.5% higher. He's up to 12% at the moment. And Amy Klobuchar is the worst She has a 0.1% chance, or people are betting on her to win. Only 0.1% chance she's going to win. She's the long shot, apparently, at this point. And to put that into perspective, you can kind of bet on anything. I mean, there's Marco Rubio's in the mix. Mike Pence is in the mix there for Republican nominees. These are long shot sort of bets there. But to put it in perspective, people that are betting on the election put Michelle Obama ahead of Amy Klobuchar. That's not good if you're in her camp there, which I thought she did pretty good. I mean, she held her own there. She just, it's what it is. Not my space. What else do we have here? Oh, Bitcoin was down 5.5% on the day. That whole correlated trade there is just out the window, at least in the short term right now. So that's what you have there. Tomorrow, you got Best Buy reporting earnings, Ambev, or let's call it Budweiser, Discovery Networks, and in the afternoon, in the evening, you got Autodesk, Baidu, that'll be interesting, Dell, Mylan, a drug company, generic drug company, Occidental Petroleum, remember Warren Buffett has a pretty $450 million position in Occidental Petroleum, which he doesn't do that very often. VM Corp, and Workday. Dividends coming out. You got Tyson paying out 42 cents and Fortune Brands paying out 24 cents. If you're interested, I'll take a chance here and try to answer your questions. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. Papa John, yeah, they got some stuff still going on, but you would think, hey, if the coronavirus is out there and we don't want to leave our houses, wouldn't we want to order more pizza? Remember, we're still talking about the previous quarter. The quarter going forward guidance wasn't suggestive of, well, that's what we expect. So that's a little bit of maybe a misstep there. When companies are reporting earnings, that's for previous coronavirus, right? That's prior to knowing about this. That's why everybody's focused on the guidance. What do you think is going to happen now? Earnings are kind of like, all right, yeah, you met, you beat, you lost, whatever. What's going to happen going forward? So that was the focus. You think the markets are going to continue lower? I mean, that'd be cool. I mean, if we're already so close to 10%, let's just do it. Right? Let's just get it over with. We haven't had a 10% drop since December 2018. Let's just do it. Let's get it over with. Maybe tomorrow, Friday, another couple percent. Knock it out, right? Let's make it happen. I know you guys want that. You like Facebook as the most attractive out of the FANG names? I would say Netflix stood out a little bit today, too. Netflix had a chance to have one of those rally and fade days. It did not fade very much at all. So I think Netflix has to stick out a little bit to you as well. Yep. Am I subbed to Wall Street Beats? Nope. Is that a channel? I like looking up channels, though. I'll check it out. You like Disney down 20% from highs here? Yeah. I don't think the new CEO is shocking, really, in any way. I don't think it means anything in terms of change of direction. I think that's important. You got a big, stable company. People are looking at what Bob Iger put down as a foundation. Is this new guy going to come in and change things? No, he's been there for a while. So I don't see any major change there. The question is just, look, Bob Iger he's going out on top, right? He did a great job. So you've now got a question mark. And so you can understand a little bit of the sell-off and a weak couple days in the market. But yeah, I like a good discount now. You think it's going to be a 50% drop. So think about that. You got the financial crisis where that was probably the third time in history where people thought the world is pretty much going to end, right? Financial crisis, we lost 50%. You got, obviously, the Great Depression, and then you have Black Tuesday, right? The 87 crash. Those are the other three times that people thought the world was essentially going to end. Is this the same? Does this feel like this is the same? You had SARS, you had all this stuff in the past. This doesn't feel like the same thing. It could be an issue, and it's going to be an issue, but is it end of the world type issue like we all thought in 2008? It seems a little bit tough to me to do that. Yeah. Disney parks are in trouble. Selfishly, I hope that it brings the volume down a little bit. You know, I've gone a couple times. It's just right here, you know, for us, and it's packed. I've gone in the middle of a weekday. It's packed. What's everybody doing? Just go to work. You watched Buffett's 2-hour interview with Berkshire Hathaway earnings that are a good learning point. Yeah, I mean, obviously a smart guy. There's a lot to learn there. He shared a lot too. He usually doesn't share as much and as detailed. I believe it was almost 3 hours long. It was a 3-hour segment. Maybe the replay was 2 hours. If 3M supplies all the masks, then why is the stock still down? How do you supply? Well, 3M hasn't been doing well, period. So they don't just make masks, right? So 3M hasn't done well, period. They've had a series of quarterly reports that have missed by a long shot. So that stock was already getting beaten down. You've got relative weakness there. And think about what happens when people are trying to reposition. Imagine a big hedge fund or something. They're not going to reposition to weakness. So when this starts to bounce even a little bit, people reposition to strength, right? And that's why you see stocks that are already trending higher doing better, or like TJ Maxx, they're getting a better, probably a bigger boost than they would get on a normal earnings day. That maybe would have been a 3 or 4% day, but now you give a shining light to somebody to say, okay, I can move money there, right? I couldn't, I can't go buy energy or something, right? These are already weak stocks in a weak market now. So you've got that movement to strength in there. It's going to be hard to get people to say, well, 3M is the way to go. That doesn't move the needle. Even if they made as many masks as they could and sold them, it doesn't move the needle compared to how that company's doing if you ever want to do a deep dive. I'm thinking about doing videos like that where we just pick a stock and that's just a post for the day. We just do a video, complete overview of a stock, what they're doing and all that great stuff. But they've got some issues they're working on. I know Tandra's happy. If you're watching on YouTube and you see the comments there, Tandra's been waiting for this market to fall now. I love it. Good. Your patience pays off. I love it. All right, cool. Well, I appreciate you guys coming along here for the ride today. If you have any questions, of course, you know where to find us, but we will be back tomorrow to do this all over again, and let's see what happens. Hopefully another wild ride. Maybe overnight here we'll get a little bit of a bounce. What's going on? No, we're at lows. We're closed right now, but closed near lows on the Russell, closed near lows on the S&P after hours. NASDAQ lower but not near lows, and the Dow below the trend line there. We'll see what tomorrow has in store. I'll be back to do this all over again. Enjoy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.
Hey, wait! Before you go watch one of our other great videos, have you had a chance to see our new Fin Tips videos? They focus on one topic at a time, covering investing, personal finance, and anything that can quickly help you with your dough. Best of all, we'll keep it real short, because we know time is money.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.